Hey, little monsters! Welcome to the Little Monsters at Yaps podcast. And today's guest is the only Sycka Yew. You can.
Hello. Hi.
Hey, what's
How
up,
are you,
girl?
Diva?
I'm good. You know, stress is stressing, and I'm very
Yes.
excited. Yes.
Love it.
Yes.
Love it. Well, I'm so excited that I'm here. Thank you for having me.
Yes. No, I appreciate you being the first guest. You're literally the first guest.
Well, listen, when it's right, it's right.
Yeah, what's right is right. Yeah. It's just so sickening. So what we have here today is Sycka Yew, and what we're gonna be doing is she's gonna get in drag. Well, I just literally ask questions, and
Because, you know, somebody has to bring the beauty to this podcast.
Yep, somebody does, and yeah, we're repping Mother today.
I'm just repping blank.
Yep, I'm Chromatica, you're just plain pink. Yep. Yep. All right, so you can get started. You know.
Cool. All right. My eyes are gonna go because Mama is blind, and we're just gonna start going. If I'm looking over here, I'm just looking at my mirror. So
yeah.
For those of you who want to see the full face, it's gonna be like back and forth.
Yeah. So let's get started. You know.
Yes. Right. Let's do it.
So, Sycka Yew, how did you come up with your drag name initially?
Okay, so it's an interesting story because my original drag name was not Sycka Yew. It was actually Brookback Mountain, if you know the film.
Yes.
And people are like, well, why did you change it? I'm like, A, it was a mouthful. B, I would always get mad at people for like, you never know how to write my name down, but I'm like, that's also my own fault. And C, there came a point where I was like, you know what, I don't feel as though this name fits me as well anymore, so I ended up changing it to Sycka Yew, mostly just because I'm out of drag. I'm 6'5", so it's like tall, scary. Wow, yeah, she's a tall one. I'm like, all right, what is tall and people can like always look up to? I'm like, trees. So Sycka was like a sycamore, and then there's a yew tree. But I'm like,
okay, oh wow,
that's the story I like to say. But the reality of it is my one of my drag sisters, Cherry Sunday, who I love. We had this running joke where we just look at each other like, girl, I hate you. I'm sick of you. And I was like, now wait a minute. So then that became, that's the true villain origin story of Sycka. But yeah, I always say there's two stories, whichever one you want to believe, go for it.
Yes, and we'll definitely tag her.
Yes, please do.
Confirm that story.
Yes.
So interesting enough, you're actually a trained opera singer.
Yes.
And a musical theater choir teacher by day.
Yes. So.
And yes. So tell me about that.
Yeah. So I, when I was in, like, basically all throughout, like, grade schools, like think like kindergarten through like 12th grade, high school or whatever, I was a giant theater kid. I did basically band, choir, orchestra, jazz band, theater, you name it. If it was not sports, I was basically doing it. And when I was going to go to college, I was like, okay, what skill do I have that I know I can at least do something with? And I went and got myself a
something.
Exactly, something. I went and I got 2 degrees. I got a bachelor's in music education and a bachelor's in vocal performance. So I went into school training to be an opera singer. And that's kind of how a lot of my beginnings were. And then I found drag as I was in that space. And I kind of was like, what if I add this into what I'm doing? What would happen?
Exactly.
And, here we are, Can't change that. Can't change me. We're just here doing the thing, and it is what it is. But the thing that I love about my drag in particular is while I do
Mm-hmm.
the usual like lip syncing, the occasional New York 8 count or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
I do also like to blend opera performance and live
Yeah, I
vocals
was
into
just gonna
my
ask you that.
into my drag, because there are girls that can sing, granted, but I'm also like not a lot of girls or performers in general are out here doing just full like operatic stuff in drag.
Mm-hmm.
One of the biggest names that I know that does it too well, too actually, that I know do it really well are Monet Exchange and Philly's
Yes.
homegirl Safira Cristal. Um,
Yes.
and
Yes.
so they, as I was kind of coming up and getting to know the scene and all that, I kind of
Mm-hmm.
took my inspiration of like, how can I blend what I actually am looking to do for a career into
Yes.
my creative outlet.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yes. Gotta
Exactly. Well,
rattle
wait, no,
grab.
wait. I have. Where is she? I have her.
Yes. Yes. Those always come in handy. I don't have one yet, but
Listen,
they're always good.
these I kid you not, I got $5 at like the beauty supply store. So for any folks that are
Word.
doing makeup ever, get one of these. It is such a
Mm-hmm.
lifesaver, and it saves you so much time, so much energy, and yeah. Just like you said, I teach children during the day, which I think for a
Mm-hmm.
drag artist is very like you steer away from the children. But
Yes.
no, that's my day
Yes.
job. I teach middle school choir and theater, so that's what I do for my
Mm-hmm.
day job. And then when I'm booked for a show, that's what I do outside of my
Yep.
job.
What? So Sycka Yew is actually just she's doing it through the whole thing, you know.
We are getting rid of the caterpillars on my face or lack
Yeah.
thereof.
Yep. Yep. Before they become butterflies. Before they
Well,
become butterflies. Well.
well.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Um. So yeah. What kind of look are you going for?
So I want to do. I was talking to you before we started this. I
Yeah.
was like, okay. I was like, I could do just like my standard mug, but I was like, you know what? We're on a pod. Let's do something totally different that I've never done
Yep.
before. Because now's the
Yes.
time. So I'm gonna do this like kind of. The vision is this like really
Mm-hmm.
graphic curved liner thing
Okay.
with a pop of color in the inner corner, and then just
Mm-hmm.
blush. Like you will learn I
Oh
am a
my
blush
god.
girl. I love blush.
I love blush. Oh my
Yes,
god.
blush to
It's
me is like if I could have a face of nothing but blush, I absolutely would.
yes. Yes. And yeah, I love with the blush queens. Like
Yeah.
Georges has uncanny music and like it's just like oh my god.
The
I
other
love
blush girl, I think the other blush girl that really gets slept on is Lydia Butthole Collins.
yes.
She is a
Yes.
blush girly, and I'm like that's a sister right there.
Yes.
That
She
is that is like to me I'm like that is the epitome of a blushy diva, and I
mhm.
love her for it because I'm like you can never my thing is blush blindness really doesn't exist ever. I think
Yes.
the more blush you have on, the prettier you look. So
Yeah, exactly. It's and then people were like not hating on, but like criticizing Acacia Forgot
oh
for the
girl,
amount of
she's
blush.
yeah, but I'm also like girl, like her blush it's so blended and beautiful that I'm
It's
like
so yeah.
I would too.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful harsh amount.
Yes. Yes.
And excuse me, oh my god. But yeah, I literally burped in your ear too. Oh my god.
Oh, girl, it's all good. I've had worse.
Oh.
I've had way worse. Trust me.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, like, so joining in the Philly drag scene, what did you
Yes.
like kind of expect? You know?
So the only thing drag wise that I knew about was from TV. I started watching Drag Race live, like as it was airing around season 6, um, and that's really all I knew about it. And then when I went to college, it was one of the things where I was like, oh, there is like actually like a local drag scene, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
intrigued to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got the courage. The first time I did it was Halloween of 2018. Like a lot of girls started on Halloween, and from there, I just kind of kept dabbling in makeup. This is at the time still when the Drag Race YouTube still had the YouTube tutorials of like all the
Yes.
eliminated girls. So what I would do is every single week, whoever was off of Drag Race in whatever season it was, I would try to copy their makeup look, and that's kind of how I
Mm-hmm.
learned how to
Awesome.
like at least attempt makeup.
Yeah.
Um, and then from
Oh,
there,
that's
it
actually really good.
was yeah. And then from there, after that, COVID hit because I was in
Right.
college when COVID hit, and people
Mm-hmm.
were out there making sourdough and doing all that stuff, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm I'm gonna burn my parents' house down if I make sourdough, and I didn't have really anything else that I was like really like I could totally do this to keep myself sane. And so I
Mm-hmm.
turned to learning how to do makeup. And the rest is
Mm-hmm.
kind of history in terms of all of that.
Awesome. Awesome. And so you had college and you wait, did you start in the pandemic or
No,
did you
I started fall of 2018.
okay.
I was in my the spring of my sophomore year when COVID hit.
Mhm. Okay.
And then I
When
finished.
COVID hit, I was okay.
No, you're good.
Okay.
Like I said, I finished out. I finished out in in about 2 years ago. So Mama was there for 5 years, earning 2 degrees. Which I mean, listen, education, especially in this day and age, is so important that I'm like, don't screw yourself
Right.
out of a good education because that is the key to everything is a good education.
Mhm. I wanted a counter question to is what you expected. What did you realize was like what were the realizations that it wasn't what you expected? Yeah.
Right. I don't think it was so much I didn't expect it. It was more just of like an awakening type thing.
Okay.
What I didn't realize was the amount of networking, especially when you're trying to get shows that is
Yes.
required, especially as a newer performer. I mean, granted, I
Mm-hmm.
started fully like trying to get more gigs. I really started gigging in April of 2022 is when I really put the pedal to the metal. And a lot of it
Mm-hmm.
is you kind of have to either A know people or B just consistently go to these shows either in drag or otherwise and just be ready to like talk yourself up. So it's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
kind of knowing your worth, how to market yourself, and then eventually the bookings and the gigs will follow. But I think the
Yeah.
biggest realization for me was just how much of a marketer you have to be of your own stuff because
Mm-hmm.
nobody's doing that for you unless
Yeah.
God forbid you
You
have the
have to
money to do
literally
it.
put yourself. You have to put yourself and market yourself, and it's definitely a. I would think it's a hard thing to do. Like even with this podcast, like promoting it, you definitely have
Mm-hmm.
to do most of the work, and
Oh, a
it's
thousand
very
percent. A thousand
yeah.
percent,
And
because again, not a lot of us are used to doing something like that. And then when we're kind of
yeah,
thrown into that and be like, oh, we have to do this thing now, it's kind of one of those things that you have to learn pretty quickly
yeah,
and essentially learn as you do it. Of like, okay, this is what to do, this is
exactly.
what not to do, and it's all a learning curve.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about, like in the pre-interview too.
Mm-hmm.
And and yeah, you get like when you said that, I was like, okay, I can calm down about the anxiety that I have
Oh
making
yeah,
this.
listen,
Yeah.
I know girls, I know performers that have been doing it 10, 15, 20 years and they're still like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I there's still those moments from like, what am I doing? And
Mm-hmm.
so it never really goes away. It's just a matter of how you
Yeah,
manage.
exactly. Though, yeah, it it definitely, but it gets better over time. Like
Oh
it
yeah,
gets less
you
and less.
it's easier to manage over
Exactly.
time. Yeah.
And then I wanted to ask you, like, who do you pull from? Like, what inspirations do you pull from in your
Mm-hmm.
drag persona, and who do you try to not emulate, but like, and would that be someone in your personal life, or just, I guess, a pop icon? Or...
So for me, at least, I really pull a lot because during my day job, like normal day, I wear a lot of like, I'm not like totally drab, but like I wear a lot more color than I do when I'm in drag. But when I'm in drag, I
Mm-hmm.
really like to pull from like the punk movement and the grunge movement
Okay.
of like the 70s to the
Okay.
90s. I
Yes.
always say that my drag is like the equivalent of if Joan Jett, Avril Lavigne, and Nancy Spungen had some sick
Yes.
twisted love child, and they put her up for adoption. That's kind of how I see myself. Now, don't get me wrong. When it calls for it, can I do the glamour and the stereotype, if you will, that a lot of
Mm-hmm.
folks think of when they think of drag? Absolutely. But at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, I like to really pull from, like I said, the really grungy aesthetic because I don't know, something about the grunge movement to me is just beautiful. Like just
Yeah.
the smudgy eyeliner,
Yes.
the dark eye
Mm-hmm.
makeup, the dark lips. Something about that to me is just like the most like
It
beautiful.
Yeah, I would understand that too. Like it almost like, especially that, like, it kind of gives you comfort. Like
Oh yeah.
it's just, yeah. I would think it gives me comfort, and it's
Oh
yeah,
yeah, 1,000%. It's the idea of just like the smudge, like the really smudged eye, really
yes,
dark eyes, dark lips, and then just a crap ton of blush. Like I said, I really pull from
hmm
like 80s,
yes,
70s grunge, 90s punk
hmm
movement. That's kind of where I see my aesthetic, essentially.
yeah. And then, so before this whole podcast, I was trying to get into like doing bedroom drag myself, and
Mm-hmm.
it was very like, if I got frustrated over this tiny little perfected thing, I
Oh
would
yeah.
I would, yeah, I would get too perfectionist, and I wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
do it. But
Well, that's
now
yeah.
I'm like,
That's mm-hmm.
yeah, it's like, it's definitely hard when you're in that perfectionist mindset.
Oh yeah, 1,000%. That's why for me, I didn't like my thing was when I started at least dabbling in drag makeup and makeup in general. I was like, I
Yeah,
don't want to go out into the world until I feel as though I look at least semi decent.
exactly.
And here's the thing: is you are in general like us as individuals, we are our own worst critics, and we're always going to think, oh, this sucks or this doesn't look great or whatever the case is. But
hmm
sometimes you have to just like trust your gut. Sometimes you have to
hmm
say, you know what, brain, shut up, and
Exactly.
gut and heart, let's do the thing. And I think that's where a lot of people get lost is they rely
hmm
a lot on what this is saying and not what this is saying. But I always tell new people they're like, I want to do drag, but I don't know where to start. My thing is always listen to your gut. Your gut
Exactly.
9 times out
I
of 10
asked,
is going to be your best friend.
yeah. So I was actually, I've talking to, or I've spoken to, really in DM messaging with Ada Vox,
Oh, I
and she
love
was,
Ada.
yeah, she was kind of like giving me here and there, and then also with Crystal Envy,
Oh
our
yes.
local Miss Congeniality
Come on,
winner
Miss
of 2017.
Congeniality.
Yes,
Love me some
I
Crystal.
knew she was gonna win something. I knew she was gonna win something,
Girl,
and
I was when they called her as Congeniality. Not gonna lie, I was gagged, but I was also like, thank God.
literally, it
Thank
get
God it's somebody that I was like, okay, this is everything.
T. Um, she no, yeah, and then I would ask her stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
she's this really really polished diva,
Oh yeah.
and she's just glamour nonstop, and
Oh my! I mean, look at the
just like,
material.
look at the material, look at the material. It's like, it's so like
Ooh.
regal, and it's so like what?
No,
Did you
my
drop
palette just dropped. Oh yeah, by the way, if
oh,
y'all these like magnetic palettes
a death?
are insane. I throw literally all my makeup in here.
Oh
It's
yeah, I want to
it's
get that.
it's honestly, to any person dabbling in makeup ever, do it,
Ever.
because the
Yes,
less that
I
you have to
yeah.
carry around, the better off you are.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, it's again, I think it's something you learn as you go to, is how to make your life as a drag performer easier on
Mhm.
yourself. And one of the ways is not trying to lug around your entire makeup stash in just one suitcase. So whatever you
Mhm.
can do to really just make it easier on yourself, I think really,
Mhm.
really helps. Like whether it's putting all of your eyeshadows or all your pressed powders, blushes, bronzers, whatever, into like magnetic
Mhm.
palettes, or carrying around like a case of lipsticks, of cream lipsticks, whatever you
Mhm.
can do to make your life easier, just friggin' do it.
Exactly. Like the process easier, yeah. And it
Oh
helps
yeah.
with time management too.
Oh,
So it's
1,000%. And also, you're like,
yeah.
I don't know where XYZ thing is. Oh, wait, it's in this giant palette that I have of
Yeah.
everything. So everything's
Exactly.
conveniently in one place.
Yeah, so I also another conversation I wanted to have was
Hmm.
the this in this day and age, it's I know you understand this, that it's really rough for and tough mentally for our fellow LGBTQ plus community members.
Oh, yeah.
And so I know I've struggled definitely even like 10 years ago. And
Hmm.
but now with this current administration, it's getting
Hmm.
harder. And I wanted to ask you, like, for the younger queer members, like, what
Hmm.
do you think is something important for them to remember, or like think when they're just by themselves, or like having a tough day and all that?
Hmm. Right. I had a professor in college. I will never forget it. He was one of the numerous instrumental directors at my college, and
Mm-hmm.
regardless of whether it was an election year or not, he would always make the same comment of democracy is not a spectator sport, especially when it comes to the rights and lives of people that either you love or that
Rights, liberties,
other folks love.
freedoms.
Exactly. And he said a great point. He was like, not everybody is able to organize, 30,000 protests and 100,000 plus people at a single protest. Not every person is able to do that. But he said
Mm-hmm.
what you are able to do as one person is speak up about issues that are concerning you, whether it's
Exactly.
about the environment, whether it's about um, trans and queer rights, whether it's about elections and voting rights, whether it's about immigration. All of these things
Mm-hmm.
eventually come back to hurt everybody. And he was
Exactly.
very adamant in saying, you know, that the louder we are, the louder a voice that you have, the further that message is going to get out. So do whatever you humanly can to um, speak up for and against injustice, because
Yes.
this fight is a long and arduous one, and we can't have people just burning out trying to save everybody. You have to really
Yeah.
take into
Exactly.
account what you can do in the immediate run and also what is out of your control. There was a performer in the Philly scene who I was very, very, very
Yes.
close with when I started. His name was Delicious O'Hara Mazzani Cristal, and
Mm-hmm.
he was one of the first people that I'd ever met, and he ended up passing away very, very tragically and very suddenly about a year ago due to a hate crime after a show. And when he went to the hospital, he was basically given like blood thinners and all these medications, and was not helped at all. And he ended up passing away. And we still have not gotten answers as to why this was done,
Really.
whose fault it is, and
Wow.
just, nobody's really been held accountable. And
That's
part of,
sad.
part of my philosophy, especially when it comes to the modern day like political struggle is a lot of people won't get involved until something happens to their
Yes.
immediate lives. And
Yes.
I always say it's gonna come back regardless. So the more love and compassion and understanding that we have for people now, when it
Hmm.
eventually
Yes.
comes back to you, and you're like, I don't feel like I have anybody, you're gonna have this army of people who's going to be there to fight for you, because extremely, extremely important that regardless of the political climate that we're in, that we seek to have love and compassion for everybody rather than hatred and
Yes.
divide,
Yes.
especially when it comes to us as queer individuals.
Yes. And it's very like, see, I um for me it was very like, growing up, it was, I think I had enough resources. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
really use, like, I didn't really have to like use any of them, but like even my family as a resource, they were like a very
Yeah.
loving and accepting, and
Mm-hmm.
it was just, I had the freedom to become who I am. And
Right.
even that's a resource. It's just your parents and your family.
Oh yeah, a
And
thousand percent.
it's, and then literally my sisters, I have two sisters, and they dress me up in their Disney princess chest and their
I love
dresses and
that.
plastic heels, and I think
I
there
love
was a
that.
tiara.
Oh,
Um,
there better have been.
yeah, I have a picture and I'll definitely share it.
I was gonna say, if
And
there was not a tiara, they were doing you wrong.
exactly, exactly. I want a pageant of something, of something.
There you go. The the
Um,
the the family living room pageants.
yes, yes. And I don't even know what the category would be, but yeah, and then that's a resource in itself, like having
Mm,
that, I guess, family dynamic too. And
absolutely.
I it's just very important, and I wish it was there all the time for everybody, but
A
and
thousand
that's not the
percent.
case. It's
Yeah.
not the case for everybody.
I'm the oldest of three. I have two younger brothers, and
Hmm.
the second youngest happens to also be queer as well. He's
Hmm.
not a drag performer, but he is under the queer umbrella. And for me, my biggest thing is I came out when I was 15. Actually, on my
Hmm.
15th birthday. My
Really?
biggest thing when my biggest thing when I came out was I didn't want this to be a hindrance on my family, because as the oldest, the expectation kind of was to like, get married to a girl, have the grandkids, do all that stuff. But as I've gotten older, and having have it been 10 years since I came out, I kind of look at my coming out as kind of a blessing in a way, because then he didn't have to feel and think the same things that I've had to, in
Yeah.
terms of, is this going to upset my family? What are they going to think? It wasn't such an immediate thought of his. He was just able to kind of
Hmm.
be himself, and
Exactly.
that to me is like the pinnacle of like,
I,
okay, you know that's why I think family in general is so important, regardless of
it's
whether you have queer siblings or not.
exactly, exactly.
The fact that he's also queer, we could not be in the queer umbrella. We could not be more opposite of each other. Like, he is very much
Hmm.
he's not as outward. He has his moments, but he's not as outwardly expressive with his queerness as I am. But I
Hmm.
think just to have that person that kind of paved the way, and it
Hmm.
was kind of a way to say like, hey, like, I got your back. We're in this shindig together, and you know whatever happens, we're still family at the end of the
Hmm.
day. I think it's really important too, especially with everything going on in the world politically, that regardless of whether you have a family, blood or chosen, I think it's really important to lean on those people as much as you humanly can. Because at
Exactly.
the end of the day, the only people that are going to save us from all the crap that's happening are
Ourselves,
those people that we can lean
ourselves
on.
too.
Mm-hmm.
Ourselves too. Yeah. And
Absolutely,
it's
absolutely.
just it's very like, you gotta have that. Even if your blood family is in your chosen family, you have to have a
Mm-hmm.
family, and
Yeah.
it's definitely something I'm working on as well. And
Mm-hmm.
uh, it's just a very important thing,
Yeah.
especially in the queer community, where we're very like, we're very shut out, and we're very
Oh,
of
a thousand
society, and
percent. And it's
yeah,
not just a one-off thing either. It's a lifelong process of trying to figure out
yes,
who you can trust, who your family is, and who you feel comfortable with letting into your life and your social circles. And that changes from day to day, hour by hour sometimes. But at the end of the
sometimes
day,
years and years.
it
Yeah. So yeah, I wanted to actually note in this conversation that we were having before, which is
mm,
um like the queer history and what is
yes.
important going on in politically. Um,
Mm,
what are some important historical queer history that stands out immediate to you, and that
mm.
we should
I
all know?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is especially, um, again, I am in like I'm Gen Z, but I'm definitely like very old Gen Z. Like I'm a
Me too.
2000
Yes,
baby. I'm a 2000 baby,
I'm a
so it's like
2001.
I like to call ourselves cuspers because it's like we're right between millennial and Gen Z.
Yeah.
Um, but I think one of the biggest things that we as a newer queer generation need to really take the time to understand is the AIDS crisis in particular,
Hmm.
and
Yes. Yes.
how devastating it was to lose so many impactful queer activists, queer artists. Like I literally on my body, you can't see it, but on my forearm, you can kind of see it. I have a Keith
Yes.
Haring
Yes.
tattoo. Yep. Keith was one of those folks that we ended up sadly losing to HIV and AIDS, and we have to kind of look at this as there was an entire generation that was lost due
Yes.
to going back to politics, the inaction and quite frankly disregard of
Disregard and
particularly
action.
black and brown queer people by the United States
Yes.
government.
Hmm.
But it's people didn't care again till it affected them until it affected straight people because straight people
Yeah.
weren't immune to it. But we lost people um, like Keith Haring, like Marsha P. Johnson, like Sylvia Rivera, so many of these titans to the AIDS crisis, whether that be during the 90s, during the 80s, 2000s, 2010s, even. The people today, there are still so many amazing queer folk who um, are dealing with and surviving with HIV and AIDS. And so
Exactly.
I think partially that's the biggest one that I
Hmm.
always say, and then the other really big one is the influence of um, really like thinking that queer people only have existed since like the 1960s with Stonewall. And now, don't get me
Yes.
wrong, I think everybody needs to know what happened at Stonewall, and everybody needs to know who threw the first brick and all of that. But there have been queer people for as long as there's been humanity on the planet. Like there
Exactly.
was the first ever queer ball was thrown by a black drag queen named William Dorsey Swan in New
Yes.
York in the
Yeah.
1840s. And
Yeah.
a lot of
Mhm.
people don't know that or have never heard of that.
Yeah.
There was also,
It's very important to educate you. Everyone should be looking up William Dorsey. Ugh, can't speak. Well, William Dorsey. Yeah. Um,
yeah, I mean,
and
because let's be honest, Google's freaking free, people. Like,
it's free.
Google it. Google is free. Well,
And it,
until the current administration decides to monopolize on Google.
Literally.
But for the time being, at least, like Google is a
Yeah.
resource to use. Um,
It's it's
it's
just so important.
Yeah, I think again, especially because a lot of the queer folks that are younger than me, a lot of what they know comes from social media, and I think if
Hmm.
we're not at least outwardly trying to educate on that front, I think we're doing a disservice to so many people who have paved the way and have fought and have made their mark on not
Yes.
only queer history but United States and world history on top of that.
Who've
Because
come
again,
before us.
a lot of
Yeah.
these records weren't very well kept, and the ones that were kept, good for them.
Hmm.
But it's again, it's us. It's up to us to tell those stories. And the third one that I want to say, I always pick three of these
Hmm.
because I think it changes like day by day.
Hmm.
The other one that has a really special place in my own heart is the killing of Matthew Shepard in 1995. I
Yes.
actually, for my going back to my musical background, for my senior recital in college, I opened up with a piece about Matthew Shepard's death
Hmm.
for my senior
Yeah.
recital, and it was a really powerful and impactful moment because I don't think people were expecting that. And
Hmm.
if for those of you who've never heard of the story of Matthew Shepard,
Yeah. Please explain.
he was he was in, I believe it's the University of either Utah or Colorado. It was somewhere out there, um,
Hmm.
but he was essentially picked up and beaten by a bunch of college age boys, and he was tied to a fence post where he ended up dying. And
Yeah.
it took years and years and years and years and years. And Matthew's story has been shared so many times and through so many different ways. There's a foundation. There's a an organization called the Matthew Shepard Foundation, which seeks to
Yes.
help queer youth um, find resources and
Resources.
things of the
Yeah.
like to help them really succeed in becoming successful queer adults.
Yes.
And it has like HIV and AIDS resources. It's got a bunch
Yeah.
of that. But
And speaking
the
of that,
story, yeah, the story of
oh
Matthew,
yeah.
yeah, the story of Matthew, I think is one that now, as a teacher, I'm never like this should be taught to children, but I think every person who is able to should at least know of or have heard of Matthew's story
Yes.
because it's that infamous saying of those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. And as especially with
Exactly.
how the current world is going, if we
Yes.
don't use the stories that um, have been told and are on record from the past, then we're going to end up repeating a bunch of that horrible stuff ourselves. And it's just going to
Exactly.
be this consistent spiral of just horribleness.
Yeah. And something I live by is you got to break the pattern. You have to break
Amen.
the pattern
Break the
and
cycle. Break
break
the
the
cycle.
cycle.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And and then I'm going to be honest, I haven't heard of the killing of him.
Mm-hmm.
And so is I wanted you to explain that not just for me, but for
Right.
everyone who's tuning into this. And
Yeah.
so I do thank you for sharing that.
Oh, of course.
And um, and then for what stands out for me is actually because I did a Disney College program
Work.
from
Okay.
January to August of last year.
Work. Okay.
And
Of that.
side thing is where it was just it's in Orlando, so
Yes.
so then we have Roxy Andrews and
Mm-hmm.
hometown from well no she's not from Orlando I don't think
I believe she is from Orlando.
yeah she might be but all right I'm
But
gonna wait
I think what you're leading into is the Pulse massacre.
yeah yes
Yes.
I'm so what stands out for me is the Pulse massacre, and
Mm-hmm.
I remember it like it was yesterday,
Oh
and
yeah.
it brought me to basically tears, and it could right now, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just very traumatic. And
Mm-hmm.
as a queer kid, it was very like, will that happen to me?
Oh
Will
yeah,
that
1,000%.
happen to? Will that happen all the time? Will it?
Mm-hmm.
It spooked me, and I know it
Mm-hmm.
spooked the entire world.
Yeah.
And when when I saw it on the news, it was also the time where Ellen DeGeneres was popular,
Mm-hmm.
T and T,
Not Ellen.
T, and so when she interviewed that one survivor,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe another person, Katy Perry, T, T, and then
Yes.
she paid for his college funds or something, and
Yeah.
but that interview was it stood out to me, and just the
Yeah.
entire massacre, it was just like eye opening into what the reality is for queer people,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very scary, and
It is.
I wish people understood at least the fear that we will kind
Oh
of
yeah.
always
I mean, yeah, I think there's always going to be fear. I remember because that Pulse happened the year after I came out, and my mom's big thing was when I started, because I was, going to these 18 plus, drag nights at the local
have.
bar. Shout out to the old Stonewall Moose Lounge up in Allentown. Um,
Mhm.
but when I was going there, that's my mom's biggest fear was that the place was either going to get shot up or blown up or whatever the case is. And
Mhm.
as a kid watching your own mother, be terrified for your safety, it's not a comforting thing at all,
No,
especially when you are out here trying to
especially
exist.
when you're young and kid.
Oh yeah. When you're 16, 17, 18 and you think you're invincible, you
Hmm.
get something like Pulse, you get something like all of these other massacres and shootings and bombings where you have to
And
say, is my safety worth it?
during like your time alive, young. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like what you're like there while it's happening, maybe
Oh
not
yeah.
around, but it's just very uh it's just I hate that it's unfortunate, and I hate that it's even a thing that we
Right.
have to not endure, but
But we
have to
have to
experience.
persevere. We have to persevere through a thousand
Exactly.
percent. But
A
here's the thing:
thousand.
us as queer people, our main claim to fame is the idea of perseverance and pushing through. So
Exactly.
if we could do it during the AIDS crisis when hundreds of thousands of queer people were dying by the hour, um, we can persevere pretty much through anything. And I think that says
Hmm.
something about um, us as queer people in general is the fact that
Hmm.
regardless of what's happened, we've always come out on the other side a lot stronger um,
A lot stronger.
for all of it. Mm-hmm.
Hmm. And back to what we were saying was with your mom being afraid for you, and
Yeah.
you just having that in herself. I remember me coming out to my mom. Like I think one of the first things she said was, "I'm just scared what you'll experience, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
scared for
Yeah.
what." She was never she. I don't. I think she knew all along.
Oh yeah,
Um,
no, my mom was
but
the same exact way. Like,
yeah,
God, there's memories of me from freaking fifth grade chorus concert. I
yeah.
will never remember it. It was a rehearsal on the risers, and I was doing freaking bop ma's on the risers, and my choral teacher like literally like screamed at me over the freaking microphone. And that was kind of the first moment where I was like, okay, something's weird. Something's not the usual about me. Um,
Yes.
but no, I think you bring up a good point, especially a lot of Gen X parents who were in their 20s
Yes.
during
Yes.
HIV/AIDS. It's still very fresh for them. And um, I feel as though as a parent, like even nowadays, um, I feel as though like as a parent, I would also be terrified for my own child. Not just for them being queer. I wouldn't be terrified about that. I'd be terrified about what the world might do to them. And I think that's where a
Yeah.
lot of parents' fears are, especially with the age of social media in particular, because kids are rude, kids are nasty.
Yeah,
And
especially middle school ones, I think, are the
oof,
worst.
now exactly, and yet here I am working with middle school, but at the same time, with the advent of social media, kids are within, a double click of each other now, whereas it was harder back in the day. Even 10 years ago, when I was in their shoes, it was a lot harder
Mhm.
to be that interactive and, in tune and in touch with each other all the time.
Mhm.
But I think that's where a lot of parents are fearful is, is my child going to get bullied to the point where they might end up taking their own life? And we've
Yes.
seen that happen. But again, I think it all goes back to, as parents, all anyone really wants is what's best for their kid, and they want their kid to be safe and happy and healthy. Well, most parents do.
Exactly.
Um, but I think having that kind of mentality as a parent is going to be what's going to save more queer youth, is being able to
Yes.
say, like, I am fearful. However, I'm willing to do whatever I need to protect my child and my family.
Our queer youth is so important in
Mm-hmm.
literally just protecting and just to allow them, or not even allow them, but just to give them all the resources that we can.
A thousand
And
percent.
this current administration is taking so much away, and
Like I'm
it
sure you've
makes
seen that they're putting out a thing to wipe out a lot of the funding for suicide hotlines,
yes,
particularly the Trevor Project, Trans Lifeline, that has
yes, and
saved hundreds. Mm-hmm.
The Trevor Project is so like important and saved so many queer youth and queer lives.
Absolutely. I really, now y'all are getting an exclusive here. Um, I have not told anybody, public or private, this. My own
Mm-hmm.
mother doesn't even know. So hi, mom. Shout out to you. But when I was,
Hey, mom.
hey, mom, love you. But when I was going through kind of my own journey and realizing I, was queer and kind of what all that entailed, it got really, really, really bad for me, to the point that I was very much depressed and considered taking my own life. And the Trevor Project, I had called there, texted there numerous times, and they really helped and saved my life, and also gave me tools that I can use nowadays, especially for people that are like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know where to turn, whether it's, they're newly coming to terms with their queerness, or, God forbid, because of the fact that HIV and AIDS is still an epidemic, younger queer folk that are being diagnosed with HIV and AIDS and thinking, oh my God, it's a death sentence, I don't know what to do. Having those
Mm-hmm.
resources and those
Yeah.
avenues available to them it's truly, truly life saving.
It's life saving, and it's so important. And the fact that they,
Mm-hmm.
well, of course they would, they took it off the government White House resource
Yeah,
page, and it's
it's a lot.
it's so like heartbreaking. It's and then the thing is, not only gay people can have HIV.
Absolutely.
It's
Yep.
and I wish people knew that. I wish people knew that as well. That it's like
I
we're not
think
just
I think
doing it for queer people.
mhm. I think people know it. I
No, you
think
go
they
ahead.
refuse to accept that it can happen to them as well. I think a lot of folks still
Exactly.
struggle with that. And I think the sooner that we
Exactly.
end the stigma surrounding HIV, AIDS, and other
Exactly.
allegedly gay
The big stigma.
diseases, the better off that we're going to be, and the quicker that we can get more resources for everybody.
We're spraying into it. We're
We are
spraying into it.
spraying because, I mean, listen, the base is basing right
Oh,
now,
she's wet.
so she is moist, dear.
Just
So
wet
we're
and
trying to
wild.
just kind of keep everything locked and intact. The good
Yeah.
old trusty fan is back.
Yes. I love how the just layers and layers and layers. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
so just so it stays on for as
Oh,
long as
1,000%. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, by the way, before
Um
we do the next thing, um, the
yeah.
kimchi puff puff pass,
Yes.
solid. Love her.
I haven't
I
used that before, but I hear it's amazing.
I use her in the pink, um, especially for under my eyes. Um,
Mhm.
but I know they have like the translucent and all of that as well. So I mean, girl, like
Mhm.
whatever your jush is, get your jush. Like I mean, for me, again, it's the really bright, really smooth under eye. That's kind of like my
Yes.
thing that I love.
Mhm.
Because I mean, like, oh my god, like even just like like that to that, like,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see the difference.
girl,
Yeah.
in IRL, real time airbrushing, diva, like,
Literally, it literally looks like airbrushing. Like that's what
exactly. Ugh,
it's.
God, Kimberly Chi, the woman that you are.
We're tagging her. We're tagging her.
We are tagging Kimberly Chi. Kimberly Chi, I love you. I would love to wear nothing but your stuff. So send it over,
Exactly.
girl. Love you.
Yes. Yes. If she doesn't send that to you, then hey,
Homophobia.
homopho-
Homophobia.
homophobia. Yeah. Um.
At its finest.
So now it's inevitable. It's
Yes.
just inevitable that
It's the
the whole
stars are
reason
aligning.
we're yeah, it's inevitable that we talk about Mother Monster,
Mama
Stephanie,
herself.
Joanne, Angelina
Angelina
Germanata.
Germanata. Yes, ma'am.
So it's just inevitable. And as this podcast is literally inspired by her, what would you
Mm-hmm.
say is your Gaga awakening? Like,
Ooh.
are you
So,
a day
okay.
oneer?
Oh, I was 1,000% a day oneer. A thousand
Me
percent.
too.
My
Me
mom,
too.
because I remember hearing Just Dance on the radio for the first time in 2008, and my mom was like, "What the heck am I listening to?" And meanwhile, I'm just in the backseat, like, "Can't read my,"
Yep.
like just doing like Just Dance, poker face, the whole bit. But no,
For me, it was Love Game.
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, but I've absolutely been a day oneer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure your folks that view this would be very intrigued to know that Gaga and I are literally born on the same day, like
Oh my
legitimately the same
god.
day.
Oh.
14 years apart. I've done the math. 14 years apart to the day. And
Aw.
I'm just like, well, no wonder why I am the way that I am. Like, look who I share a freaking birthday
Literally,
with.
it was
But also,
destined. It was destined to be.
we also share a birthday with freaking Reba McEntire. So I'm like, even if not
Yeah.
her, like
Even gayer. Even gayer.
even gayer, girl. The girls don't know about Reba. Reba is that girl.
She is. She's an icon in itself.
She really is.
And so even like I love like that Gaga herself pulls like in her name Radio Gaga. She got it from
Yeah, she
Queen.
pulled from that Queen song.
And
Yeah.
and that music video for the top of my head I can't think of it where they're in drag is like I
Oh
think
yeah,
that's
it's
also a
I
staple.
want to break free. Yep.
Yes, that's even like a little small, not even small, it's just like an important thing to remember because it was big then
Yeah.
when it first came out.
It was huge, and we also have to remember too, Freddie Mercury also ended up succumbing to
Yes.
AIDS as well. So
Yep.
again, kind of going back into
Yeah,
everything that we've been talking about up to this point.
exactly. And
It's
it's
funny how things can just line up like that.
yes, literally that happens on the daily for me. Happens on
Literally on the
the
daily,
daily, hour by hour sometimes.
hour by hour, minute by minute. Damn
Yes.
it.
But I will say, so I remember there was very vividly, like, I was in a minivan with my sisters and my mom,
Work.
and we were driving from my grandma's house, and
Uh huh.
Love Game came on the radio, and I was like, okay, what is this? We're getting into
Yeah.
this, and then for me, actually, it was just I was always a fan, and then I started really getting into it in Born This Way, and
Oh yeah. Listen, like
so
truly, I feel when Gaga came into her own was Born This Way. Fame Monster,
yes,
I love Fame Monster, but Born This Way
yes,
is. I feel as though when the general public really said, "Oh, that's a
yeah,
star right there."
that's when she was in her stamp, and that's when she started to leap out of like. Because I believe, like in that during that time when you're first signing on to a record label,
Mm-hmm.
not only are you um like people are telling you what to put out there a
Oh, a
lot. Like
thousand percent. Yeah.
you can definitely have your own inspirations and
Yes.
um but it's most of the time they don't talk about that you don't own your music right away because you're just
No, you
starting.
don't. I mean,
Yeah.
look at not to teeter off too far, but look at what Kesha's been through with the whole Dr. Lewis
Yes.
situation.
Yes.
Like,
It's
as a beginning artist, you don't always get everything that you want because you're kind of forced to be like, oh well, this record label signed me, and they're the only people that have any faith in me as an artist, so I should do what I
mhm,
say, or should do what they say rather. And
mhm.
sometimes it works, and sometimes it backfires. And at a lot of these artists don't really have a lot of say so as to
Yes.
what they can churn out.
Yes. It's definitely I definitely think she went through that. And
Oh
you can
yes, she
honestly
definitely.
you can tell. You can tell from like the fame monster and then going into Born This Way. You can tell
Oh
like
yeah.
because even Shiza, like it was just like it
Mm-hmm.
was so different. Like she
Yeah.
and then throughout all of these songs from that record, it's just like what that's weird. Like what she, like random words
It's
she
a
was saying.
it's really a metamorphosis of her, truly.
Yes. And it's just Born This Way will always be and I have the poster. It's
Oh,
right behind me.
work.
And it's just yeah, and I
Work.
Born This Way has definitely helped a lot of queer individuals when
Oh
it came
yeah.
out.
Her and her
And
mom have the Born This Way Foundation. So I mean,
yeah,
even just with that
that's
too, it's
definitely
like,
important to plug.
oh yeah, a
It's
thousand percent.
yes.
So I
And
have to ask you. I have to ask you now.
yes.
Well, look at me. I'm the one asking the question now. But have you ever seen her live? Is what I want to know.
Yes. So I saw her I was never able to see her past tours.
Okay.
And but so like very beginning, being young, no. My
Oh
mom
yeah,
was
us
not
being
gonna
like
take me.
literal fetuses and like not having any
Yeah.
kind of money.
Yes. So the first time I saw her live was the Chromatica Ball.
Oh, work.
And
Okay.
I saw her at MetLife and
Mm.
cried 3 times.
Yeah.
I once when I was just enjoying the vibe, once
hmm
when she sang Born This Way on the piano,
Oh my
and
god,
then
yeah.
the last time was at the finale when she sang Hold My Hand because that was during the
Ugh.
time where she did that
Yes,
Top
yeah, because
Gun song.
that was Top Gun, yeah.
Yes. And so that was just very oh my god. I literally think about it every day because
It's a
I
religious
think
experience.
it is. It was the best day of my life. And
Listen, Father Son
it's
Church of Gaga, I tell you.
yes, Father, Son, Church and Gaga,
Father
yes.
Son Church of Gaga.
Yes. Oh my god, yes. Oh my god.
No, but
What was
I
yeah.
got to see her. I saw her for the Joanne tour.
You were saying
Which
that, yeah.
here's the thing. People sleep on Joanne. Joanne is a
People sleep
beautiful
on
record.
Joanne, Art Pop, like
Oh my
oh my
god,
god.
the art pop slander I will never get over.
Literally it was ahead of its time, that's why.
It was, and it
And
still is. Like all these girlies are
it
trying to do
still
hyper pop
is.
now. I'm like, girl, look at the source material. Gaga did it first.
She really did. She really
She
did.
did.
Um and so that's one tour I really wish I went to. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just and she even tweeted like I I'm so happy it's coming back and like
Mm-hmm.
because the flop it had, which was not a flop. Like, are you
Mm-mm.
kidding me?
Well, no,
And
it was a flop by the establishment, but by
yes,
queer folk, again, queer folk kind
no,
of spearheading everything, we really
yes,
said this is ours. We are taking it, it is
we are
ours.
taking it. Yes,
Yeah.
and so and then my next thing is I'm going to be going to the Mayhem Ball as well as you, right?
Yes, bitch!
And
Oh my god,
I'm
thank you. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you got tickets. Okay, I have to ask, when you got in the queue, what was your number when you got in the queue for tickets?
I actually wasn't in the Ticketmaster queue because so I I got them
Girl.
on SeatGeek, which is connected to
Oh,
Ticketmaster.
okay.
Yeah, and so I wasn't in the queue, and but because every time I was on Ticketmaster, the ticket prices would go up $200 more.
Oh, yeah, which, again, I
And
think
so
Ticketmaster is such a scam. They are scalpers.
for real, like I wanted to get as close as I could because I'm
Mm-hmm.
hard of hearing, and I'm also I didn't know if I want to wear glasses during it, but I probably will. But
Right.
you definitely want to get as close as you can, and
Yeah.
I had really good tax returns, so
Oh,
they
come
were
on, tax
IRS helped
returns.
me.
Come
IRS
on.
helped me out, girl.
Thank you, IRS, for being helpful for once.
Literally, I'm so. It's just like, and it came in at the right time,
Yeah,
literally, and oh my, it's just gonna be so good.
it is.
And I
Yeah,
think we have to
it's gonna
talk
be.
about
Yes.
Gagachella.
Girl. The way that that altered my brain chemistry
It
is
altered my
insane.
brain chemistry, the way the world turns,
Girl, it
just
altered
the
my
way I
sexuality,
listen to them.
goddammit. I thought I was a lesbian for a hot minute.
Literally,
I thought I was a
no,
freaking
I was
lesbian because she
I was
looked
a
that
lesbian.
good. Ugh.
Oh my god! And
I mean,
she
listen,
looks
Paris Goebel. Shout out to you, girlfriend. Shout out to Paris Goebel.
out
You have
out.
done the Lord's work with Gaga, and
Doing the Lord's work.
I am so happy that she is working with somebody who actually choreographs for a dancer. Because here's the thing: don't sleep on
Yes.
Gaga.
Never.
That woman can dance.
Literally. And then what is also important to notice is that Gaga has fibromyalgia.
Yeah, and
And
she's doing
she's been,
all of this crazy crap.
yeah, and she even said during the Chromatica Ball that she feels happy. She feels more, just great in her own body.
It
And
shows
I
it
was,
shows in her body
it
and it shows in
shows.
her music too. Yeah.
It shows in her music and her body. And when she said that before the Chromatica Ball, or even during it, I think she said it, I was
Mm-hmm.
brought to tears
Oh
because I
yeah.
was so happy. I was so proud of her.
Mm-hmm.
And it really, like, she persevered. And
Oh, a thousand
she,
percent.
it was so special to me. And then you even saw it also at Gagachella. Like, she was
Yes,
working it out.
you can tell that she has hit her prime. Truly, she's really hit her prime as an artist. Like people are like, oh my
She,
god, like her prime was born this way. I'm like, no, girl, her prime is now.
no,
Like having
her
done
prime,
everything with like Tony Bennett and all the jazz stuff, and even Chromatica and art
yes.
pop, everything has been kind of leading to this moment where she's really become this tour de force performer.
Her transformation is insane.
It's
And the way
it's
she
amazing to
hops
see.
from, it's just the growth is like, it's just, it makes me love her insurmountably.
Oh
And
yes.
it's just, she's so raw too, and
Mm-hmm.
it's I just love her. Like, she's just, I could talk about her for days, hours, years.
Oh
And
yes.
thank
I feel as though if you can't go on a rant about something about Gaga, whether it's her music, her artistry, her where she pulls her references from, like I feel
mm-hmm.
like that you're really missing out on the full embodiment of who she is as a performer.
Exactly,
Because
exactly.
Miss
And,
Mama knows her references. Like,
oh, she knows.
and it's one of those things where you're like, oh, she's on a different wavelength than a lot of other people.
She's on a different wavelength, and
Yes.
it's strong too. Like it's just like she's bold in that wavelength, and it's just incredibly impactful.
Oh yeah.
It's I do not know how else to say it. And
She is a literally a once in a generation artist. Like people saying, "Oh my
one
God, she's the next Madonna." I'm like, no, girl, she's the only Lady Gaga.
and then across almost 3 decades.
Yeah, girl.
It's
Well,
insane.
technically four if you count her older stuff like her Blue album from
Right.
like
Yes.
2004 when
Yes.
she was Stephanie and not Gaga yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she's been
And
going at this
she's
three and a
been
half decades, which is insane to think about.
it's it definitely like makes me emotional because it's just like
Mm-hmm.
she's just I don't know what I would do without her.
Oh no, and I think the
And
cool thing too is a lot of us as fans have grown up with her, and a lot of us have gone through our own evolutions as she's gone through her evolutions as well. Like
exactly.
we've grown up with her, and it's really kind of cool to see, especially the younger fans like our age who were listening to her at like school dances and are now blossoming and thriving as like actual adult people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of cool to see where a lot of these fans have come from and where a lot
Yeah.
of their ties to Gaga come from. I think it's really, really cool.
What do you have to say to the fans that I do air quotes because what do you have to say to them when they listen to the album, not even the whole thing, and say, no, I'm not listening to it. I hate Gaga. What the hell? No. Like, what do you
Okay,
have to say to
here's what I'm going to say to that. I think it's one thing if you listen through the full album and you're like, you know what? This wasn't my favorite. That I respect. But if you are literally 10 seconds into the first song on the album and it's an 18-track album and you're like, I already hate this. She's in her flop era. Blah, blah, blah. Girl, grow up, get a life, get over it.
it pisses me off, and it, like, it's just like a album, a song, a movie, it grows on you. Oh,
It
she's
does. I
feeling
mean,
it. She's feeling
people,
it.
listen, people still talk crap about House of Gucci, but I'm like, girl, would your fave ever do a low but like a badly received film and then come back during COVID and give us like the album of the decade at that point? No.
Exactly.
Like
Exactly.
again, respect to all the pop girlies, like truly madly deeply. Like I could barely do what they do in my sleep. However,
Exactly.
I'm so over this like infighting when it comes to who's the better pop diva, who has the better track record, who has the better sales. I'm like, girl, just appreciate the
Girl.
art for what it is, and just say, you know
Exactly.
what, you're not my like. I don't personally listen to them all the time, but I respect what they do as an artist, and I respect
Exactly.
the amount of work that they put into their craft.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, oh, she's feeling
Ooh.
herself.
So
She's
the
feeling
mug is
herself.
on. Audience, what do we
Yes.
think?
The Muggy's stunned.
The muggy Dupree is on. Like,
She's mugged
ooh,
down.
ooh.
Ooh, yes.
Like, and
Yes.
y'all, get into the cheek, right? I
Yes.
added, while we were not doing anything, I added the kimchi glitter shards
Mm-hmm.
in Supernova.
Yes.
She is the one, like, in the light, look at her. Like, she is
Also,
the one.
Supernova by Kylie Minogue.
Shining like a supernova, brightest of the stars.
Yes, yes. Oh my god.
Work.
So Sycka Yew is going to be
Not the light dying. Not the light dying. Wait, we're gonna fix her right now. Hold on.
So
the
while
lights are
that
back.
happens,
We don't know. We
we're
don't know for
back.
how much longer.
So Sycka Yew is definitely gonna put her wig down. She's gonna lay down. And then we will be right back. We're good. Oh wait, I'll edit that. I'll edit that.
But like, here's the unit. Here's the unit.
Here's the unit. Yeah, here's the unit.
She's pink and black. Lovely.
She's pink and black. It's giving Chromatica, honestly.
And the light died again, but it's fine. We're going. We're gonna roll with it.
We're going.
rolling with it.
We're going. So in the last segment of the podcast, I will do it permanently every episode. Is my segment called Yap For Me.
Word.
And
Okay.
it is, you rant for a minute and 15 seconds because
Mm-hmm.
usually podcasts do a minute. And
But
since this
we're
is all
different.
about
We're different and
yapping
unique
talking,
and special. So we're going to do a minute and 15. Okay.
Yes. And so,
You know
yeah,
what?
I have.
This is homophobic! Homophobic!
We got, this is homophobic. Lights.
This is
You're
homophobia
homophobic.
at its frigging finest.
All right. I have a timer.
Okay.
For, 15 minutes. No, ma'am.
Ooh, not 15 minutes. Okay,
right.
this light is going to keep dying, but it's whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, it's going to keep dying. She's homophobic today.
Very homophobic. Very homophobic.
So I have the timer.
All right.
And we're recording. Okay, we're
recording.
We're recording. Yes.
We're recording.
So ready, set, go.
Okay. I have this piece of advice for girls who want to start drag. I always think, do drag, do what you gotta do. Just because you can do a stunt does not make you a good drag queen. I am... Mm-hmm. Now, again, I've only been doing this 3 years, so I'm still very much a baby. But what I cannot stand is people thinking, oh, I can do the splits, I can do a dip, I can do backflips and rolls, and that gives me, all the whatever. No, girl. What you should do is you should hone your craft, hone the makeup first, then learn how to either sew or style a wig and not have your light go out. Learn that first, and then start going into, how do I do a dip correctly without, disrespecting the ballroom community? How do I do a split without injuring myself? If I don't do a split, does that make me a bad performer? No, diva. I would rather you know how to do something well. I would rather a girl know how to park and bark more than doing a split. Because that to me shows the mark of a true performer. And you know what? That's who I'm going to tip more than a backflipping, flip-flopping queen. And that's all I got to say on that. Yes. Period, bitch.
Yes.
Period,
dude. That down.
Period, faggot. Period, faggot. The light's back on, faggot. Whoa.
It's giving share.
Why do they need a parade, faggot? Yes.
On that note, I would love to thank you for coming on the podcast and literally being my first guest.
Well, thank you for having me. This was literally such a blast. Like, I've never done something like this before, so this is fantastic.
Neither have I, and this is really half-assed.
But guess what? Guess what? We got through it, bitch. We got through it, and we look good doing it.
Pushed through.
We look good.
We persevered.
Do it. We persevere. We push through. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Sycka Yew.
Of course. And if you want to follow me on the Instagram,
plug yourself.
My Instagram is Sycka Yew. That is SYCKAYEW, all one word. My Venmo is the same if you would like to tip the diva, because, it costs a lot of money to, do the thing.
Yes.
If any of y'all would like me to come twirl at a city near you, DM me.
Yes,
let's make something happen. But peace and blessings. Remember to truly love and accept yourself, because you have yourself at the end of the day. Long live Mother Monster. Long live queer people. Mwah. I love you all so much.
Yes, thank you. All right. See you next time.
Bye, diva. Have fun. Love you. Mwah.
Love you.
I forgot to do an outro. Yeah. So, thank you for watching this first podcast episode with Sycka Yew. I truly appreciate this just ability to even do this. So if you want to be a guest, my Instagram page is the Little Monster Pod on Instagram. I think it's on Threads. But yeah, I have my Instagram page. I'll tag it. And then my upload days will be Wednesdays. Not We don't have a lot of guests right now, but we have some lined up. Um, but yeah, I do appreciate uh Sycka Yew so much. I do. I love her. Just thank you, Diva. Uh, and yeah, tune in for next time.